Why dark feminine energy can be really difficult to embrace. Today, we're going to be talking about this because it's something that I know that we have brought up. I did a video on this. So if you haven't seen it, please go and watch it. It's called Why We Need Dark Feminine Energy. And I know it was, I'm so very grateful that so many of you took it to heart and really enjoyed the liberty that video gave you. But I know that some of us may still be struggling with the notion and the idea of dark feminine energy and why it's so, why we resist it. And so we're going to be discussing that on today's video. And again, you're just going to have to enjoy Mama Swan's voice today. And I promise you, I will be back on camera as soon as my calendar opens up enough for me to do a whole production. But I want to make sure that we are still growing in the academy, that you're still getting your lessons and your classes in, because I know that Black Swans are focused on their development as women, as feminine women and powerful women. Okay, so I will see you right after this. Welcome back to the Black Swan Relationship Academy. My name is Chengi. I am your dating and relationship expert, founder of the Black Swan Relationship Academy, where my coaches and I teach you how to present as a high value, high status, high worth, authentic woman that high quality men find completely irresistible. If that is you, you are on the right channel. Do not forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment, of course, my darling. All right. One of the number one reasons we struggle with dark feminine energy is, number one, because it's dark, right? It's dark in that it lives in the subconscious mind where we are not conscious of what's there. It's something that comes with innately within our nature, almost primal. And on the other end of the spectrum, it shows up as promiscuity. It shows up as attention seeking. It shows up as exhibitionism. It shows up in ways, in the extreme side of the spectrum of dark feminine energy. It shows up in those ways, but it is not because it was intended for that. It often is because our true nature is trying to express itself through a broken consciousness, right? Something that R.C. Blake teaches about is the broken consciousness. It's trying to, our truest essence, which is beneath the subconscious mind, which is truly the commander-in-chief of our lives. And if you want to know more about this, is in the Nice Girl Rehab, the second one, Reloaded, and you can watch that or at least access the challenge in Swan City on Facebook. And so basically the essence is full of us. It's full of Chengi. My essence is full of the authentic, genuine, real me. Okay, but I was sent into this world that is broken, has issues. It's very beautiful too. Let's not forget that living is wonderful and being alive is great because there's so many things. I mean, we all want to live because being alive is fantastic and this world is beautiful in so many ways. But in reality, it's also dark. And in order for us to cope, because we were born to, fallible humans who didn't always get everything right and who won't always get everything right, we learned to suppress parts of ourselves in order to survive. And some of those suppressions happen at a very, very, very early age. So we learned very early to suppress elements of ourselves because they were not accepted within our home. And so part of why it's difficult is because it's in darkness. It hasn't been brought to the consciousness. And so what we really have is the element of our superego, the judge in our head that has been fed by the morality of the world. And if you were brought up in a religious setting, you would have been taught that your sexuality, your freedom, your voice is problematic, and you wouldn't have been given tools for a healthier way of showing up and manifesting your dark feminine energy. You would have simply been told not to do it. So you've been repressing it, denying it, and all these other crazy things because you didn't have tools to actually show up in a way, which is point number two, is you don't have the tools. when you don't have tools to exhibit it, if you don't know, gosh, I am a sensual and sexual being, how can that manifest in a way that honors my values as a woman, my integrity, my dignity, my elegance, and my sophistication? But how can I really express that in the world? If you don't have a tool, you have no choice but to repress it, to judge it, right? And, you can find multiple ways. Being sensual and sexual often sometimes is just being your true self and confident, walking into the room like you mean it, and owning your sexuality and owning your attraction and owning your desire, and figuring out for yourself how you're going to play that out in a way that is dignified. And now we've got the Flirt and Date Masterclass, here at the Black Swan Relationship Academy, that teaches you how to really attract what you desire and tune into your desires. With the Feminine Mastery Masterclass, that allows you to tune into yourself so that you can have that magnetic energy that causes you to draw your desires. Because I want you to understand that it is ultimately energy rather than what we do. It's not about the cleavage top. When we wear sexy pieces, it's not so much because we want to be slutty or be out here in these streets. Usually is that part of our subconscious mind that really is trying to get out. Okay, if you can acknowledge that actually I am a woman, and in my womanhood I am sexy, and that's part of the whole package. Is whether I like it or not, I didn't choose to be. It's part of being a woman, is to be sexy and to have sexual and sensual energy, and to have longing and passion and desire, and to actually have a voice about how you feel about certain things. And so you need a set of tools, and we've got them here at the Black Swan Relationship Academy. We've got our style concierge and our head coach who can help us curate our wardrobe in such a way that we can express our dark feminine energy without being anything other than our beautiful, elegant, swan-like selves. We have courses that can help you do that. I created the Black Swan Nation because I wanted women from all over the world to be able to access on the point help with their dating and relationship needs. We have the expertise of our world-class coaches, including myself, supporting you ladies through your dating journey, to have access to live coaching without having to blow the bank. This, of course, we can only take a certain amount of ladies and support a certain amount of ladies, but I want you to know that you are currently welcome to the Black Swan Nation. You may end up on a waiting list, or you may get lucky and be able to get right into the Black Swan Nation, where we provide more insight, where we discuss more personal stories that will be of use to you. In the Black Swan Nation, there are no holds barred. It is unfiltered. It is only for the brave, because in the Black Swan Nation, we give you the raw truth. So all you have to do is follow the link on this video, and we will see you on the other side. The next one is, you were raised in a highly moralistic or religious background where anything sensual or sexual was sinful. And so many of us, especially those of us who are spiritual, will feel that there is a penalty at the end of that. So we don't even want to open the door in case we end up in hell because we desired something, or we longed for something. And this is the religious teaching that ends up creating a lot of problems for many women, especially married women, who will not put on anything pretty, who will not be sexy, who will not wear any lingerie for their husbands, because at the end of the day, they know that to be bad. And whenever I work with men, especially clergy, men in the clergy who are married, they really long for that dark feminine energy. And I believe I said that in the first video. So we really have to address our scriptural understanding, whatever your religion is, whatever the scriptures you ascribe to. Obviously, you know that I'm Christian, so we're going to be talking about the Bible here. And I know that somebody was very upset with me last time for quoting scripture. How dare I quote scripture as a Christian woman? Oh my goodness. Oh dear. Obviously I offer no apology, However, I do want us all to know that this is a safe space for anybody. And I love all of my Muslim followers and my Hindu. All of you are welcome here at the Black Swan Relationship Academy. So if you are welcome, I know that I am welcome, and my beliefs are welcome in your home, on your devices. And so that's how we roll here. We move in love, and love is complete acceptance. We don't ask people to change their fundamental beliefs in order for us to feel comfortable. So obviously, you know, whatever your religion is, there would have been an element of moralism that would have been so ingrained in you, with the penalty of death or hell or like such punishment for exploring that side of yourself. And so, you know, I truly do not believe that religion means to suppress or repress us. I really believe that the intentions of the originators and the propagators of a lot of this stuff were really just to preserve and to keep safe the best way they knew how. But we really have to take responsibility for how we are interpreting, and really not relying on our leaders to carry our theology, but really invest in our own learning. You know, the reason you can get a Bible or whatever your scriptural text is and read it is because God intended for you to know it for yourself and determine certain things for yourself. And that is not to say that our spiritual leaders must be ignored by any stretch of the imagination, but the balance is that of the Berean Christians who Paul would preach and they would go and check the scriptures for accuracy. You know, I was having a conversation with one of the ladies in the Black Swan Nation, and they were like, you know, I want a man who pray over me, and I really want this. And, you know, it sounds fantastic. It's romantic for, you know, church girls. I've heard it said all over the web, but I said to her, well, can you find me the scripture that says this is a spiritual prerequisite for a Christian woman? Like, where's the scripture that says your husband must pray for you? You know, like your husband must pray for you. There are many scriptures that tell us that we must pray for one another, and you know, many, and I'm sure in every religion. But where is it that says specifically, do not marry a man that doesn't pray for you, or a man is truly religious and truly spiritual and truly loves you if he prays for you? Okay, and she was just not able to find it. So, and I know that was a simplistic way of putting it, because some people would argue, well, it's about context and blah, 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 and interpretation, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, if you hold a belief so firmly, at least be able to find it in scripture, even if it's misquoted. At least let's find it. Let's, you know, we can't debate what's not in there. We have to debate what's in there. So that's the only way to truly come to balance, is to really ask ourselves a lot of these things. Where does it say to suppress your sexuality? Where does it say suppress it? We cannot interpret the requirement for modesty as suppression. Modesty presupposes that there's potential for great sexuality, and that there's no mistake there, but that sexuality must be managed, right? That's different. It's not about suppressing. So we really have to begin to dismantle and unlearn a lot of the spiritual teachings that we have learned over the years that have stopped us from really expressing our true nature and our truest self. The next thing that we need to understand that suppresses our dark feminine is a lack of practice. You know, some of us want to be, you know, a little bit more our sensual, sexual, healthy self, but we really, through multiple reasons, fear, maybe sexual trauma in the past, you know, we haven't been practicing. So this is why I want you to get the Flirt and Date Masterclass, because it's going to help you practicing on different men and really seeing how they react, so that you build your confidence. We have to practice something to bring it out of us, because feminine energy is inside of you. It's not something you have to borrow. It's not like you have to go to that tree, get some feminine energy, eat it, and so it'll become a part of you. Feminine energy is something that you were born innately with. It's in your core, but it is repressed and suppressed by all these other things that we are learning in a world that we're growing, things I've already discussed with you. So practice. And I always say practice with the men that you don't have high stakes on, you know, men that take it or leave it, you know, and not to harm them or use them as bad things. I always say, when we practice our skills on men, it really is flattering on them. It's, for some men, it's the first time they've actually had any real attention or felt lovely around a woman. It's important, obviously, to move with integrity. So we're not going to be giving them signals that you're in there, but we're definitely going to be more playful and really make them feel great while they're in our company, but also practice our feminine energy. You know, everything that you want to learn, you've been practicing a lot of your light feminine energy in the Black Swan Relationship Academy but you want to practice that dark feminine energy and figure out what's too much, too little. You only learn that through practice. And last but certainly not least is some of our dark feminine energy is locked up in our trauma. Okay, we cannot release our dark feminine energy because it's wrapped up in the trauma that we experienced as children. It's wrapped up in the trauma that we experienced. It's a lot of sexual trauma that can really block dark feminine energy. And some may say, well, the trend is if a woman that has sexual trauma is more likely to be promiscuous. But I want you to kind of think of promiscuity as a wall. It's not genuine, authentic connection. It's the wall we put up. We're going to meet here sexually, right? We're not going to meet intimately. And if I'm leading the charge and discarding men as they come and go, then I feel in control. And whenever I'm trying to be in control, then I'm in my ego. I'm allowing my ego to run my life. So whether you are on the extreme side of promiscuity or whether you are a good little church girl, I can guarantee you that there is some trauma. There's trauma in being a 50-year-old virgin. There's some trauma there. I'm not saying that you cannot make that a lifestyle choice, but most of us are just really carrying a lot of trauma that we are just afraid to address. So we either go to one spectrum where we become old virgins who can't meet and be intimate with men and express ourselves so that they can see us as sexual and sensual beings that they might want to marry and keep. Or we on the other side where we are using and weaponizing sex in order to protect ourselves from true intimacy. Whenever there's trauma, we will malfunction. We will behave in perverted ways that are counterproductive to what we're trying to achieve. So we must address the trauma. We must address it at all times for multiple reasons. But if you're really struggling to show up as that version of yourself, which is really important in the dating and relationship matrix, your sensuality and your sexuality is really important for the intimacy and the bonding of a couple. And sexuality and sensuality does not start in the bedroom. It is not something that happens when two people are horizontal. It happens way early on the first date. It happens throughout your courtship. It happens as married couples before we get to the bedroom. You have to court me and you have to understand certain parts of me. And so if we don't learn how to tap into our dark feminine energy, we're going to find ourselves at a bit of a loss. We're going to find ourselves a little bit not quite triggering the chemistry and the attraction that every relationship needs. And so what's really important is for us to address one of these issues and really look deeply and really think, okay, I'm going to start attacking this so that I can be a healthy woman. And my womanhood is really being the sexual gatekeeper. And that means having mastery of my sexuality in more ways than keeping my legs crossed, in more ways than just being chaste. I need to manage my sexuality, its heights, its breadth, its depth. I need to be able to navigate around my sexuality healthily. I need to be able to understand my sexuality in such a way that I heal myself and I am healed as a result. And so I hope this video was really very helpful. I will see you on my next video, but in the meantime, do take care of you. Love you lots. Bye-bye now. Well done for coming to the end of this video. What I want to ask you is, what have you learned? What is your takeaway? And what are you going to start practicing right away? Those three things are how you are going to get the best out of every class here at the Black Swan Relationship Academy. Please put it in the comments so that we can all have a look. So I can have a look, the coaches can have a look, and I promise you, we read every comment. We may not be able to reply to every comment, but we read all your comments and we want to see how you are growing. And we will see you on the next video.